Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti, hoping you guys are having a good day. And above all else, that you're looking after yourselves and one another. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's after Christmas. We are in the Boxing Week. Instead of calling it Boxing Day, we're calling it Boxing Week because all the sales are going on from now until whenever they're done, right? And I hope you guys had a fantastic holiday, good Christmas, having a safe Christmas and a good time. If you're still on vacation from school, enjoy it while it lasts. If you're on vacation from work, again, enjoy it while it lasts. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get into the topic of the show, I want to welcome back the old gang. We're all back together again. Mr. Jim Bricker, how's it going, Jim?
Doing fine, Armando. Happy to be back with all y'all.
It's good. Happy that you're back. Mr. Ken Cheshire, how's it going, Ken?
Going well, Armando. Thanks for having me back, and it's good to be amongst my brothers.
There you go. There you go. Good to have you back. And the one and only Mr. Bill Schuster. How's it going, Bill?
Well, Armando, groggy as normal, as I always am on these episodes. So, would you gentlemen expect anything less? It's
No,
the joys of working overnights.
no. We wouldn't expect anything less.
Glad to be
Ladies and
here amongst
gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, for the next set of 7 episodes, we are going to dive into a series that we're calling Triple Play. And before we get into the setup for this episode, I'm going to give you the inspiration for this episode. Now, Much Music in Canada, back when they played music back in the 80s and 90s, every Boxing Day, they would have what's called a Triple Play Boxing Day, where they would pick an artist and play 3 of their videos back to back. So I thought, why not do that with an artist with a series of 3 albums? Okay, pick an artist that had a series of 3 albums back to back that were uh, an album run of 3 that were great albums. Not perfect, because we already covered that in August, but great albums. So I talked about, originally it was going to be myself doing this. We were going to do this series of episodes, but Jim wanted in, and then Bill wanted in, and then Ken wanted in. So we just decided to make it a group effort here. So we are each going to give you an artist that we feel at some point during their career had a run of 3 albums that were pretty much great. Okay, again, not perfect, but great. So as I look at my screen here, who will I pick? Let's go with Jim.
Hello.
First pick. Hello.
I get to go first and set the tone for either success or failure. All right. So, please,
It'll be
Lord.
fine.
Okay. So, I'm going to start with a band we all know and love, and that is the band Yes. And I am going with the 3 album run of the Yes album, Fragile, which was released in either 1971 or 1972, depending on which continent you lived, and Close to the Edge. Um, for me, maybe it's an obvious choice, but this is kind of the holy trinity of Yes albums to me. Um, not only do you have the introduction of Steve Howe and Rick Wakeman here, but you've got the most classic songs in their catalog, stuck in these 3 albums. And Close to the Edge in and of itself may be the greatest prog album of all time. I know that there's a lot of argument that, Close to the Edge may be the greatest prog song of all time. At least every list I've seen, it's in the top 3. Um, and for me, the reason that excuse me, one of the secret weapons that makes these 3 albums work so well is Bill Bruford's drumming. Um, you know, in somewhere in this nexus of rock and jazz and classical upbringing, he's just kind of doing his own thing and being, bringing a creativity to the rhythm that was pretty fairly unheard of in rock bands back in that day. Um, this was also a time I think where Yes was kind of at their creative peak, and ideas were flowing and, ripping around, and people were really open to saying, let's go with this, let's go with this. And it hadn't yet degenerated into this, miasma of fighting over parts and getting into arrangement hell. But yeah, when I think of a 3 album run of any artist, pretty much the first 3 albums that come to my mind are the Yes album, Fragile, and Close to the Edge. I just think they're all absolute bangers, and if they're not part of your record collection, then shame on you. Must be corrected. Use those gift cards from Amazon and order them up.
True enough. No, it's true. Good choices. The one thing I do remember about I have this 3.5 hour documentary on Yes. Um, believe me, when you watch this documentary, ladies and gentlemen, bring a lunch because it's quite long. But Bill Bruford was saying that at the point when they were doing Close to the Edge, that he would fall asleep on the couch in the control room and wake up. It'd be like 4 a.m, and the other 3 or 4 would be arguing over how this guitar part should be mixed or brought in or whatever, or redone or whatever. And that's one of the reasons why he got tired and left at that point, because enough was enough to him, right? So, but because it can be tedious when you're arguing over the same thing over and over again, right? So, but it's a good choice. A good choice. All right, Ken.
Okay. For this first video, I chose the same band and the same 3 albums as Jim did. I agree and echo all of his sentiments. I think with Fragile and Close to the Edge, this is my favorite lineup of Yes. And they've had a lot of different lineups. My introduction to Yes was with the 3 classics off of the Yes album. Yours Is No Disgrace, Starship Trooper, and I've Seen All Good People. It was like nothing I'd ever heard before. Fragile is different in that, of course, they bring on Rick Wakeman replacing Tony Kaye on keyboards. But they did this neat thing where they had individual songs by the different musicians. And in several of them, they were the only ones playing on those songs. So it's kind of like Emerson, Lake and Palmer did with a couple of albums. It made it possible for them to record the album faster. I think it kept them from arguing amongst one another also. Like Jim said, or like Armando said, how to mix this, how to mix that, and then, like I said, Close to the Edge, the whole title epic is the whole of side 1 with side 2 within You and I and Siberian Khatru. Each one it's a progression as far as their style and what they did as a band and in the world of prog itself. Yet each one is uniquely different, and would take those Amazon gift cards. You've already bought gifts for everyone else. Now it's time for you to treat yourself. And the current editions of these sonically are as good as it's ever going to get. So anyway, yeah, second vote for Yes and this classic trilogy.
It's good. Well, it's a good choice again. Just to sort of echo what Ken just said, if guys out there can get your hands on copies of the Steven Wilson remixes,
Oh, yes.
of these albums, please try your best to track them down. They might pay a little, bit more for them, but you know what? They're worth it. They are worth it. All right, over to Bill.
Actually, just one
Sorry.
thing, in case people are just completely ignorant to what we're talking about, just look over Bill's left shoulder and you'll see those 3 albums right up there. The Yes
That's right.
album, Close to the Edge, and then Fragile
Fragile.
in the blue underneath. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, again, if the believe the Steven Wilson remixes are I'm going to correct myself. There was a box set available on vinyl of the Steven Wilson remixes, but you can also track them down on CD as well. So, all right. Now over to Bill for
All
your
right. Obviously, I like the choice, but yeah, I did not go with that choice. That was one of my strong considerations, but I decided against it in the end. I had lots of leftovers here on that. But yeah, it's an excellent choice. That is a pretty amazing run. I would even say that Yes has more than one 3-album run that is excellent. So, but I'll leave that for another show because I didn't pick Yes this time. I am going to stay in the same brief little section at the beginning of the 70s, though, and I'll go for this guy because he's right next to Yes on my wall with Tumbleweed Connection, Madman Across the Water, and Honky Chateau, my 3 favorite Elton John albums.
Fantastic.
Frankly, I could even extend it in both directions and include the self-titled album. And you're looking at Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. But this is the core right here for me. This is Elton, not quite a superstar yet, on the verge of becoming a superstar, which he essentially did with Honky Chateau, but he wasn't quite there yet when it was released. This is before all the trappings of stardom kind of affected the music. I think there was still an innocence here in the stuff that him and Bernie Taupin were coming up with, the material they were writing, and the core famous Elton John band was not fully in place yet. Davy Johnstone finally joined on Honky Chateau to complete the band with Dee Murray on bass and Nigel Olsson on drums. There's those 2 guys had been with him for a while at this point. Really, if you've only heard Elton John, the stuff that's made famous by the movies or the things that the 80s hits or the Lion King stuff in the 90s or the remake for Princess Diana of Candle in the Wind, all that kind of stuff. Oh man, go back early. I mean, I like the man's career in general. He has a lot of great stuff, but this is well worth investigating. If you are a fan of, classic rock singer, songwriter kind of stuff, this is among the best. Every one of these albums is well worth your time and attention. Don't come in here expecting over the top stuff. Come in looking for stuff more in line with the band, for example. It doesn't sound like the band, but it has that kind of almost Americana feel to a lot of it because Bernie Taupin was a big fan. Bernie really absorbed his American influences, or at least tried to. Again, I could extend it, but I'm not. We're doing 3, so that's my 3 right behind me there.
And this is, to me, the best of his piano playing.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that.
It just really shines and what's missing from his latter day albums. Also, this is the period of my favorite live album by him, 1711-70, which takes these epics off those the first 2 of this trilogy, and live, it's just unbelievable. You would think that it was a studio recording. It's done so well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got my vote.
I actually had a question about that particular record, Ken, and maybe you or Bill know. It did get released somewhere in that order of Tumbleweed, Madman, Honky Chateau, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where did that fall? Do you guys know?
I
don't
think
remember.
I think it was between Madman and Honky Chateau. You
That's
talking about
what,
the live album?
Yeah.
Yeah, 171170.
yeah, I think so, because there's not any honky songs on it.
No. No, it was definitely before Honky Chateau.
Right.
No,
And if
it's
Honky Chateau sounds a little bit odd, think Rocket Man.
yeah,
That's where that came from.
yeah,
So
yeah. And the album is on the wall behind Bill, right over his shoulder. So I mean, you can see the album cover there, and um, yeah, no, it was a good. That's a good choice. How can I put? I have a copy of Tumbleweed Connection, and on my copy, one of the many reissues, there is the original version of Madman Across the Water featuring Mick Ronson on guitar. So, and the clock's in like 8 minutes and change or something like that. So, yeah, there's history here, ladies and gentlemen. There's history, and just to finish my thought, because we did an episode recently on Billy Joel. And to me, in the 80s, that's where Billy Joel and Elton John sort of went their different paths. Where Billy Joel, to me, continued his fantastic uh, compositions with piano and fantastic piano playing, whereas Elton John kind of went more the pop route. And of course, it's just my opinion. So, I mean, I've said before on the other episode that Billy Joel is above Elton John to me in terms of piano playing. That's my opinion, obviously. But you know, I'm
I
gonna
want
get
to throw
shots.
one last comment that that is kind of unique to our time in history. Um, the four of us, well, three of us definitely are probably old enough to remember the original LP issue of Honky Chateau, which is something you wouldn't find today because it had a very unique um, album structure where you got to the record by sort of taking out tab A from slot B. Um, and for some people who didn't handle that well, you ended up ripping your album. But yeah, those are the days when album packaging ruled,
Yeah,
and you really got some fun and creative things. And those early Elton albums, they all had amazing packaging to them,
yeah,
whether it's just 12-page booklets of the illustrated song lyrics and band photos and whatnot, and of course all the way through to Goodbye Yellow Brick Road with its triptych gatefold.
yeah,
Those are the days. I know we're
yeah,
old, but man,
I
those were
would
the
show you,
days.
but I mean, that is one of those with the insert.
oh,
yeah.
Those have all the booklets and everything in them, but they're on the wall behind me, so I can't really show you right now without
there you go.
Yeah.
there and taking them
Well,
down.
the only other
We
thing I
trust you.
said, there's an excellent box set of Madman Across the Water,
Oh
a
yeah.
reissue. That's a
Mhm.
box set. It's
Yeah,
great. It's
yeah,
just great.
yeah. And little trivia, Jean-Luc Ponty is featured on Honky Chateau. So just a little side note there.
Just a little- just a little.
Just a little bit.
That's the
Just
first time I'd ever heard of
tad.
Bobby Conti with that album.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
No, it's a good choice there, Bill. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my pick for day one of triple play, it's gotta be Queen, right? With the run
Got it.
of A Night at the Opera in 75, Day at the Races 76, and News of the World from 77. Um, I've gone on record as saying that Queen 2 is my favorite album, and Queen Richard is. But you cannot deny that they had a run of albums from, in the mid 70s that was just phenomenal. I mean, from let me backtrack a little bit. From Sheer Heart Attack on, they started going to more of a variety of styles on their albums, from ragtime jazz to dance hall to ballads, and which is featured on an at the opera. You have like heavy rock of Death on Two Legs. I'm in love with my car, which was the B-side to Bohemian Rhapsody. You have the what I call pop confection of You're My Best Friend. you know, the second single from the album. 39, which is, a space folk type of song. Also, Sweet Lady, which is a rock waltz track. You just have a lot of variety. And with A Day at the Races, which was released a year later, December 10th of 76, and Night at the Opera was released November 21st of 75. So they were on a run of writing, recording, touring for a good run of 8 years. And with A Day at the Races, it continued with, Tie Your Mother Down, You Take My Breath Away, Somebody to Love, gospel tinged track that it is. And then continuing on with A Day at the Races with, A News of the World. One sip of coffee and I'm still screwed up, guys. News of the World, recorded within 2 months. What I like about News of the World is, out of all of the three, this has got to be the most diverse. You've got, obviously the anthemic "We Will Rock You," We Are the Champions, and you've got the, I guess you call it the punk influenced Sheer Heart Attack, which was originally written for Sheer Heart Attack, but wasn't finished in time. Then you have, the ballads, and you have songs like Who Needs You, which is more of a Latin tinged track, and just the sheer variety that is on News of the World, right? You have the blues influenced Sleeping on the Sidewalk, the 6 minute, I guess, 6 minute plus all out rock track, It's Late, which again was edited down to 3 minutes plus for a single release in North America. I don't know, a little mini tangent. I don't know how the hell you can take a track that is 6 minutes and 32 seconds and edit it down to 3 minutes plus and call it a complete, like a complete track. It doesn't work. And Brian May has said that that track will never see the light of day again because it was released without the band's permission. So he is, vetoed that ever happening ever again. And the album ends with My Melancholy Blues, which is basically, a piano bar type of jazz track, with Roger Taylor using the brushes on the drums beautifully. And it's just a beautiful way to end the album. So the fact that they were able to write, arrange, and record News of the World within 2 months, from start to finish, is to me astounding. So for me, my first pick for day one of Triple Play, it had to be Queen, with Night at the Opera, Day at the Races, and News of the World. So
Along those lines, I'd like to offer another single Abomination Hall of Fame entry, and that is taking the 8-minute 29-second epic of Roundabout and dissecting it down to a pithy 3 minutes 27 seconds.
how is that possible?
Well, it's possible if you have no taste,
But like,
he
again,
said, full of himself.
exactly. I mean, like, it's an abomination. It's an abomination. I mean, musically, there's even an edit of Bohemian Rhapsody that John Deacon did, because at the time of the release of the album, they were all saying, no, the song is too long. It's almost 6 minutes. It can't go out and it's in that form. So John Deacon did an edit where you had the ballad part and then it goes into the ballad ending. There's no operatic section. There's no heavy guitar section. And Freddie Mercury said, you know what? We did this song. It took us 3 weeks to put together. We're releasing it the way it is. You don't like it? Pick another single. And, anyways. That could
Well,
be
they did
another-
the same thing with the Who and Won't Get Fooled Again. That 45 edit is just, ugh.
Yeah.
Does it include the scream?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think mostly what they cut out were the sections where it's just the synth.
Yeah.
The organ synth.
Yeah.
But it's just shocking when you're used to the album version. So
No, it's true. That's true. Well, there you have it, guys. Episode 1 of Triple Play. With our mini rants and tangents included. Please put down below, down below, what your pick for day 1 of bands that have a run of 3 great albums. Again, not perfect, but great. And again, I want to thank Jim, Ken, and Bill for joining me on this first episode and for the next 6 to come. So please look after yourselves and one another. Click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. And we will see you soon with episode 2 of Triple Play. Bye for now.